So, hi everyone, I again welcome you on this amazing session on where we are studying about Python. And in Python, specifically, we're studying about recursion, and I hope you are doing absolutely fine. And so now we are going to start from today. As we have in the last session, we studied with recursion, we started with recursion, and now we are continuing with that. So, those who are seeing this video for the first time, coming to the channel first time, I request them to go back to the previous video first, then come to this video, so you have more clarity about recursion. Okay, it's a continuation of the first video where we have started recursion. Okay, so let's get started. So today I'm going to study today we are going to study about direct or indirect recursion. So typically there are two types of recursion. There are more variations, but these are more generalized way of recursion: direct and indirect recursion. It's a very simple. So direct recursion is what? direct recursion Direct recursion means when a function call itself directly. Function calls itself directly, it is basically called your direct recursion. Okay, it is called direct recursion. Example, you can say def fact, and suppose I am taking just one example using Python factorial example. So def is basically what? It's a keyword to define the function. Okay, if n equal to 0, then you can take return 1, else you can take return n cross fact n minus 1. So clearly in this example, if you see very closely, here we are defining our base condition. Okay, those who don't know what is the mean by base condition, I have explained in the previous video. You can go back and come back, then you have a good clarity on what you mean by base condition. Basically, base condition is which defines your terminating condition, means when your recursion is going to end. So if you see here, I have defined a function def factorial taking input n as a number. So if your n input number is 0, then directly return me 1, means 0 factorial is 1. So if n is equal to 0, it will give me direct answer 1. So this is your my base case, or I would say base condition. Then else, if another other than 0, if any number is there, then you have to follow return me n cross fact n minus 1. So let's debug it. Okay, before debugging it, let's try to understand what do you mean by indirect recursion. So basically, indirect recursion, what happens? A function called another function. Okay, basically if I give you a function will call another function. Okay, suppose you can take f1, which will call the original function. Okay, which is going to call the original function. So basically what happens in indirect, so indirectly you are doing recursion. Here also function calling is happening, here also base condition is there, but here the calling take place with some intermediary function. Okay, this function is calling this function, and this function is calling your main function. Okay, basically here you are creating a loop of calls. What you are creating, you can say here we are creating loop of calls. Okay, between multiple functions. Example, if I say about indirect recursion is, you can take same example. Suppose I have defined this one function. Okay, here I am defining base condition again. If n is greater than 0, print n. Not a base condition, this is a simple recursion. Okay, fact 1 n minus 1. N is greater than 0, print n. Then I am calling this function. Okay, fun1 n. Okay, now another function I have defined def fun2, and if n is greater than 0, okay, if n is greater than 0, then fun1 n minus 1. So clearly, if you closely look, this is the function I have defined. If your n input is greater than 0, then print n, then it will point to this function only. Another function I have defined fun2. So this function is, since it is a recursion now, so there will be fun n minus 1. So another function I have defined, n is greater than 0. If n is greater than 0, then it's going to point to this function. So study the flow. This is the function you defined. Okay, so this function is going to call this function, then this function is going to call this function, then this function is going to call your main function, and finally your output is going to be printed. Okay, so this is basically your indirect recursion. I hope that is pretty much clear what is the difference between indirect and direct recursion. Now let's go to some practical. So as you can see here, I have opened my PyCharm editor, and here I have written a simple code of factorial. Okay, so def is basically a keyword to define a function in Python, and function name is factorial. It is taking input n, and if n is equal to 0, then return 1. Okay, so this is your base condition. Base condition is why it is important, because if you are not giving any base condition or base case, then your recursion will run into infinite loop. Okay, which is not right from a developer point of view. So here we have defined the base condition. If n equal to 0, then you return me 1, else you return n into factorial n minus 1. Now here I am calculating basically factorial of 5, so let me run it. Okay, so as you can see clearly, the output is 120. If I go with 6, and so here is 720 output. Okay, so let's start with small 4. Okay, so 4 factorial is 24. Is it right? Yes, it's right. So let's calculate here 4 factorial. So 4 factorial is what? 4 into 3 into 2 into 1. So that is 24. 5 factorial is 5 into 4 into 3 into 2 into 1. That is 120. And for 6 factorial, it's 6 into 5 into 4 into 3 into 2 into 1. That is your 720. That is your 720. Okay, so now let's try to debug this. So I'm just copying this code. Okay, and I am pasting it. I will paste the link of this URL basically to debug it. So this is my code, right? Okay, so let's start. So here it call the function. So I have given the input factorial 4. So input is 4, so basically we have to calculate the factorial of 4. Okay, so n becomes your 4, then n equal to 0. So n is clearly 4, it's not 0, so it will not go inside, it will not going to return 1. This is clear. Your n is 4. After def it is saying if n equal to 0. Be very focused here. Okay, just be clear. N is equal to 0. If n is equal to 0, then only it's going to return 1. So here n is 4, so it is not going to return 1, so it will go else part, return n cross factorial n minus 1. Okay, so here what is returning? So return n into factorial n minus 1. So n is 4 into factorial 4 minus 1. Okay, let me be more clear here. Let me copy it. Okay, so I think it will be much better. Okay, so let's debug it. Okay, so you have to calculate the factorial 4. Okay, now if I take the first iteration, the 4 will go from here to here. Okay, then it will go to check the base condition, and base condition is 0, so 4 is not equal to 0, so it will not going to enter it in this one return one, it will going to enter into this part. So what you are going to return, you are going to return 4 cross factorial 4 minus 1, so which means you are going to return 4 cross fact 3. This is right now. Now what will happen, this 3 will again go to this part. Okay, again it going to check your base case, then 3 is not equal to 0, it will not going to enter in this, it will going to enter into the else part. So just return 3 cross factorial, I am writing in short, here it is factorial only, so return 3 cross factorial 2 clearly. Again now it's going back here, again it's going to come back here, so 2 is not equal to 0, then again going to the else part, then we are mentioning return 2 cross fact 2 minus 1, that is 1, 2 minus 1. Okay, let me write it, fact 2 minus 1, so it is going to give me return 2 cross fact 1. Okay, now coming back again, fact 1, so 1 is not equal to 0 again, so it is going to return 1 cross fact 1 minus 1, that is 0. Okay, that is 0, right? So now it will go here, if n equal to 0, then it will going to return 1. So now here it is going to return 1, so 1 cross 1 is equal to what, 1. Okay, then this one will go to this here, fact 1. Okay, so basically what is the unique thing about recursion, but it will process the entire code. Okay, then it will going to return the value of a particular function. So from here the returning, the reverse it will going. Okay, that's why it is called a recursion, recursively. Now here fact 1 is 1, so 2 into 1 it will give you 2. Okay, now this will go to here, fact 2, so 3 into 2 it is going to 6. Now this 6 will go here, 4 into 6, that is 24. Okay, so 24 will be my answer. So this is how the recursion works. We will take one more example. Let's say we have to find out the factorial of 5. Okay, so let me copy it. Okay, let me copy it and paste it 5. So 5 factorial is 120. So let's see how it works. So first 5 is the input. Okay, so 5 will go here, it will check the base condition is not true, it will go into the else part. So 5 is not equal to 0, so it is going to return 5 cross factorial 5 minus 1, so it's going to give return 5 cross factorial 4. Right, now the new input will be 4, it will again go to in this part, we'll check 4 is not equal to 0, so it will not going to execute return 1, it will going to else part. So again in else part return 4 cross factorial 4 minus 1, so what is the value will be returned, return 4 cross factorial 3. Right, Now the new input is 3. Again 3 is not equal to 0. So now I am writing directly 3 cross factorial 3 minus 1, that is 2. 3 minus 1 minus 1. Okay, so 2. Again follow the same step. 2 is not equal to 0. Return 2 cross factorial 1. Okay, the new input is 1. Again 1 is not equal to 0. Then you take the return 1 cross factorial 1 minus 1, that is 0. Now factorial 0 is what? Again is going to check 0. So 0 is equal to 0, it will going to return 1. So 1 is the output, cross 1, that is 1. Now this one will go to here. Okay, I hope this is clear. Now here 2 cross 1, 2 cross 1, that is 2. I am writing here. Now this 2 will go to here. So 3 cross 2 is 6. This 6 will go here. 4 into 6, that is 24. This 24 will go to here. That is 5 into 24, 120. So 120 is your final answer. Okay, I hope that is clear. If you are still having confusion, just rewatch the video. It will be clear. It's very simple. Okay, now let me go and debug it. So let me start. So here we are calculating the factorial 4. So as you see, this is the function factorial 4, n equal to 4. 4 is not equal to 0. So it will going to return what? It's going to return 3. Fact n minus 1, 3. Okay, then again 3 is not equal to 0. It's going to return 2. Then it's coming for 1. Then again 0. Okay, it come. Now see, once you get 0, let's see how it is moving. Have you checked it? If n equal to 0, it's going to return 1. So the return value is 1. Okay, now 1 cross 1 is 1. See here, I will just go back and just check. Return is 1 now. So 1 cross 1 is 1. Okay, now 1 cross 1 is 1. Okay, now it will go 1 cross 2, that is 2. Okay, then return value is 2. Then 2 cross 3, 6. Then 6 cross 4, 24. Okay, then finally the answer is 24. Okay, you can cross check for multiple values, 6, 7. Okay, hope you get some clarity about recursion, means how the recursion works, and I tried to be more simplistic way so that you can understand. So if anyone going to ask you, you can explain in more simplistic manner. And yeah, in our next session we will be continuing with recursion only. Few problems we will see to get more clarity on. We are going to do a lot of practice, so that will not be a problem for you to understand. If so many people who are not getting up till now also, no need to worry, we will be solving a lot of problems. You will get a lot of clarity. I'm sure you will going to understand means what is recursion. And do subscribe to my channel, so if any new video come, just hit the notification icon. If any new video come, you will be notified. Thanks for watching. Thank you.